Hi, good evening. So, today I am going to take on this webinar. So, this is going to be on the topic ethics. So, I guess everyone should be working in some place, or you should be studying in some place, in any institution or in any organization. So, ethics plays a major role in each and everyone's life. So when you see what is ethics literally to be, we can understand that this a particular word which we had heard many a times somewhere or the other in the movies or in our workplaces. So that's how this ethics plays a major role. So whenever you see ethics, this particular ethics has different verticals or different scenarios that can be explained. So when you see the screen right now, which I've shown you, it shows you the ethics which can take up the transformation of different arenas. So it can be of integrity, value, honor, choice, conscience, responsibility, fairness, right, honesty, principles, and more. So we should understand that to know what is exactly ethics. So when you see on the perspective of ethics, ethics is nothing but a study of moral standards. So this moral standards literally is being articulated for a very long time based on certain principles of many philosophers or many work ethics and many more. So the ethics is literally defined to be on the business mode, and that's how the business ethics has come out. So there are some famous dialogues also which says the business ethics, the professional ethics, or something like that, where you say the Toril Dharma எத்திக்ஸ் தமிழில் நம்ம பிஸ்னஸ் ப்ரொஃபஷனல் எத்திக்ஸை நம்ம தமிழில் இது பண்ணோம் அப்படின்னா தொழில் தர்மம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. ஸோ சம்திங் லைக் தட்ஸ் ஹவு தி எத்திக்ஸ் இஸ். இட் இஸ் தி ஸ்டடி ஆஃப் moral standards. So when we say ethics, there are certain aspirations that need to be made also, because whether we can think about whether we follow ethics and we win the situation, no, it cannot be. There are different methodologies and different levels of ethics which can be followed, and there are different layers of ethics also which follow. So when you see how this particular ethics literally play a major role in one's life as well as in the business model or the professional model, it can be of a personal as well as the professional thing. So I said it is a study of moral standards, right? So morality is the standard that an individual or a group has about what is right and wrong or good and evil. So this is more of an explanatory sentence which you can see there on the screen, which literally gives you what literally ethics and the morality mean. So it is nothing but a standard which is followed, which tells you which is right or wrong, good and evil. That's it, and nothing more about that. So when you look out on the concepts of morality, it comes into various aspirations in terms of your education, your business, your integrity, knowledge, and everything. All these are combined together, which comes into the morality concept. So when the ethics alone play, can ethics alone play the concept of which is right and wrong? Not at all, because we all know that there is a relationship between the ethics and law, right? So ethics, which I said you, it says you which is right and which is wrong, and also law is also the same, which says these are the right rules and regulations that ought to be followed, right? So these things are equally the same, but So as there is a relationship between the ethics and law, there happens to be an intersection where this particular intersection has a gray area. So that is literally a point of which we need to look out on, right? So in the forthcoming slides, you'll be just seeing out how the ethics and morality play a different aspect in the role which I'm going to explain it to you. Right. So here it says ethics and morality are not the same thing, but ethics is study about the moral standards, right? So for instance, Robin Hood, I guess everyone should be knowing Robin Hood. Robin Hood stealing to feed the poor, unethical, but still moral, right? So it is not ethical. Stealing is not ethical thing, but it is unethical, but it is moral. So because he's stealing not to satisfy his own gains, but to feed the poor. So that this particular situation gives you that this instance is an unethical one, but a moral one. So this cannot be said as an ethical thing. So this is the gray area which lies on the relationship between the ethics and the law. Something that seems immoral may still be ethical, like selling goods at hugely inflated prices. I guess so. Everyone here should have experienced this. So many of you would have gone this particular thing that you buy a particular good at a highly inflated price. So that seems to be immoral, may still be ethical because that is a legal transformation which is being done, but it is an immoral thing because the price is being sensationalized in or inflated in such a way that it is made not affordable, right? Let's take in the case of a daily purchase that we are making in terms of the groceries, in terms of onions, in terms of tomatoes, and or the other cereals, rice, pulses, and everything. At one particular point of time, what happens is this particular cereals or the groceries are really at a affordable price, but when the demand is higher, what happens? The prices get inflated in such a way that you are to buy it in the price which is being fixed, where that is immoral, but it is ethical. Reason being, it is ethical, it has followed the set of rules and standards, right? The law sometimes permits people to do unethical things, yes, which I told you earlier. Cheating on your partner is usually ethically wrong, for instance, yes. So this is a common scenario which is been happening everywhere in the world, and most likely there in India. So what happens is cheating on your partner is usually ethically wrong, but for instance, but breaking romantic commitments isn't typically illegal, right? So, and even where it is, laws against adultery aren't usually enforced. So this is very the controversial thing which is going on there in India right now, where the adultery is not being seen as an which is against law because it is not unethical as well. But when you see it on the morality side, it is immoral. So that's how the gray area plays a higher note on the things. So it is something like the right or wrong, which I already told you. Either you choose on the right way or in the wrong way. That's it's the ethical thing which plays the major role. All right. So you see that this particular right or wrong is something very important, as which is in the aspect of ethics as well as the morality is concerned. So when you see on the ethics side, so there are three types of ethics, which is normative ethics, applied ethics, and meta ethics. So this is which we earlier discussed it about as the systematic study of moral standards. So when we see on the other side, so there are few philosophers who have defined ethics in such a way that uh, which can be explained also. So I'll be getting on with few of the philosophers. So one is Plato. I guess everyone should be knowing Plato. So ethics is relative. That's how he mentions ethics. Ethics describes justice and explains how it is attained. Next, Aristotle. Making virtue ethics a habit. Seek to cultivate the habits associated with the virtues of human excellence. Um, Obviously, probably these things might be similar to our daily life. So there is one philosopher named Kant, balancing animal passions with human reason and creating a universal ethical system that each person takes upon herself. Being ethical makes you free. I guess this literally is the general ethics which literally being followed, I guess. And when you see on the Kant's philosophy, so which literally tells us about the various levels where we judge on how to be ethical on the side. So if an action is right, is not right for everyone to take, then it is not right for everyone. So that is what Kant's ethics literally mean. So when we see that there are three levels actually. So one is the pre-conventional level. So when you see on the pre-conventional level, that seems to be the level one. So where it is the stage one, where you obey rules to avoid the punishment, because this all happens there in our school days or college days, where we follow the rules. So the stage two is follow rules only if it is in own interest, but let others do the same, confirm to secure the record. So sometimes it happens. What we do is we follow the rules on our own interest, but the others, what they do is they follow it to just to make it as a record. So these are the pre-conventional level of the Kant's ethics. So we go to the conventional level, where comes the stage three. So this is the level two actually. So conform to meet the expectation of others, please others, adhere to the stereotypical image. So this is very clear, where we follow certain ethics in terms to conform to meet the expectation of others. We live to the expectation of others, not to the expectation of the self, right? And stage four is doing right is one's duty. Obey the law, uphold the social contract and order. So this is something like where we follow the rules, we go by the law, and nothing more as having our own ethics. So that's how this particular ethics is being defined. So this comes under the conventional level. That is the level two. And you go to the post-conventional or the principal level. There is a level three, and we go see on the stage five. So it relatively has the relation between the current law and the values, right? So when we see about the ethics, so we saw about the relationship between the law and ethics, right? So we had a gray area, something it is similar to that, where law and duty obeyed on rational calculations to ensure the greatest number. And when we see on the stage 6, which has the uh, self-chosen universal ethical principle. So this is on the individuality side. So this is the post-conventional thing, right? And in the event of conflicts, principles overrides laws. So I guess everyone are able to articulate and see what is literally mean, because these are the certain philosophical philosophers who have channelized what ethics literally mean and how this has been taken up. And although this each and everyone has certain concepts and they have their own philosophical adherations, but we take upon certain types of ethics that we literally follow. So these are the universally accepted types of ethics which is being taken upon. So here you see the normative ethics, where it is the study of standards to determine the right and wrong. So this is general moral science. So this is being what which has been generally taught. This, which I told you, is the pre-conventional level. So next we go to the applied ethics. So this is a study of special issues, the business ethics. So scope is specific human ethics. So this you see it as a conventional level where you work on these conventions. So next you see on the meta ethics, where the cognitive study of ultimate principle of ethics, the origin and meaning. So here what we see is the it is the principal level or the post conventional, probably we can take it something like that, but it is not the same action which I told you, similar to the cons. This which can we can relatively take it upon, because on the conceptual scope it may be of the philosophical kind, but it literally works on how you generally take upon the ethical standards within you and how we go upon the ethical standards. So you see on the decision making and the ethics concept. So there are many influences on decision making in ethics. So there are five major uh, decision making influences which literally come upon. So individual ethical decision making. So these are the influences which literally push you into taking the decision making on the ethical concepts, right? So first is the individual ethical decision making. So where you are pushed into the individual aspects of taking the decisions, right? Next comes the organizational level. So where it is between the policies and practices which are followed there in the organizational level. The next is the moral evaluation of business system, capitalism and the marketplace, the competition. So what we do is, when we are in the business system, we look out for the capitalism as the one stage, and the other stage we look out for the marketplace. The marketplace is the competition. So we need to sustain in the market, right? So we do certain unethical things, right? But we need to also there in the business system, the capitalism. So we cannot be unethical in that way, right? So we should be ethical, but sometimes people tend to be immoral also, right? So that's how this thing goes on. So even though the moral evaluation of business system is going on, but there is little sort of a immoral activities which literally goes upon on the conflict this in this particular system also. So next comes the relation between the business and the society. So we see on the corporate social responsibility. I guess many of you here who are employed in the companies or who are into business operations literally know what is this corporate social responsibility mean. So it is something like an business entity where they take upon certain corporate social responsibility activities which uh, contribute to the society. So initially this was taken on the voluntary basis, but later on what happened is, although many institutions come on the voluntary basis, but certain institutions they wanted to relax on the taxes, so they come out on the corporate social responsibility activities. But it's okay, but on the unethical side if they do it, but if it is going to be a moral one, then that's okay. So as of we saw in the situation of Robin Hood stealing food for the poor, it may be unethical, but it is a moral one, right? So on that particular perspective, that's okay. And specific issues in business, the affirmative action, discrimination, conflicts of interest, privacy, whistleblowing, and the list goes on literally. So these are the specific issues in business where you need to literally take upon work upon the decision making, and also need to look on the ethical standards also, right? Which is literally very very important. But I don't know how many of you are able to follow that, but that is really important. So next we see on the outside impact on individual based on the ethical conflicts, right? So you see on the individual conscience, there are these are the outside impact of a particular individual on the ethical side, right? So there may be some pressures or some maybe the forces which I said here, the influences. So the first one is the individual thing, which that is being which we are speaking it right here. So the influences can of an individual based on it can come upon on the different aspects. So that is what is mentioned here. So it can come from your fellow worker, your regions of country, your profession, your employer. See, the profession and employer are literally different. Your profession is something like the profession which you have taken upon. The employer is something that where your employer is directly influencing you on the ethical decision making, right? Then society at large, probably the people who you meet daily, so makes a major impact and major influence on your individual conscience. Your religious belief, absolutely yes. So based on your religious belief, you are impacted a lot on your individual conscience, right? The law, yes. So the law is for the people, but at times what happens is, due to that particular law, the outside impact we get on the individual conscience is on a higher note, right? So that may be a law may be unethical, but it should not be immoral. So that what is the crisp of the ethical thing is, right? Your friends, your family, so all these literally constitute to the outside impact on individual of your ethical behavior. So, as I said, the ethical behavior, people have different beliefs about what constitutes ethical behavior. So, when faced with ethical dilemmas, it is important to consider outcomes of decision making process. Yes. So, it is very important to consider outcomes of the decision making process, because we should be ethical in making up your decisions. So, which is very important. Probably many of us literally fail upon on that particular aspects and criteria. So what should be done? So there is one way of dealing with an ethical dilemma is by using the four-way test to evaluate decisions. So how many of you, I don't know how many of you are literally doing this four-way decisions to evaluate this particular ethical dilemma, but I literally use all these things. So I've been using this for quite a point of time. So I've been if I'm placed in an ethical dilemma, right? Not every time. So I just first think, is my decision a truthful one, right? So if you are taking up a decision and you are propagating that particular decision, it has to be a truthful one. So you should need to look out whether is your decision a truthful one, right? Yes. Next is my decision fair to everyone affected, right? You should see that the decision you have taken is fair. Probably it might not be good, it might not be the best, but it should be fair, right? So that's how it has to be. All right. So then you should look about, will it build goodwill for the organization? So if it is going to be the dilemma with an organization, you should see the organization, or if it is going to be your personal, you should see for the personal, or if you look out for the family, then you should look out for the family, right? So is the decision beneficial to all the parties who have vested interest in the outcome? See, the outcome is something like what is the decision that you are going to take upon, and how this particular decision is vested on the interest of the outcome, right? So these are the four questions that you need to evaluate on, right, when you are on the ethical dilemma. Okay, so you got the answers, what you should be doing it. So what is going to be answer? See, when these four questions can truthfully be answered with a yes, it is likely that the decision is an ethical one, right? So for your information, people, just make a note of all these four evaluation questions. So if you are able to answer a big yes for all these four questions on the ethical dilemma when you are making a decision, and if it is all these going to be an yes, then your decision is going to be an ethical one. See, making an ethical decision is really important, on because if it is going to be an ethical decision, absolutely it is going to be a moral standard also. Okay. Yes. So there is one more way you can do this, where it is sort of an imaginary type, where you put yourself on a situation, right? where you are making decisions are truly ethical is by using the publicity test. So you what you do is you ask yourself on how you would feel if your actions were published in the newspaper in something the you have taken that particular decision and that particular decision has been vested on the newspaper, and what is going to be your feeling if you would be comfortable having your parents, your teachers, or the others, and they find out that this particular decision as you taken is it is that they are satisfied with that particular decision, or it is that they are um, comfortable literally with the decision which you have taken. And if that is going to be the situation, see the first thing is the first way is you self introspect yourself with the four questions. The second way is you put yourself on a publicity test where you look out for the you put yourself on a scenario and you look out for the possible outcomes. You look out for you visualize the outcome. See, when you put out the this particular decision, let's take some scenario you are going to take upon. Let's take you are taking up a habit, literally an ethical you're taking up an habit which is going to be something which is not acceptable, right, by your family, your friends, or something, your teachers, or everyone. Let's take you are taking up an habit of smoking, right? If that particular smoking is in the first stage, if you see you wanted to take up the habit of smoking and you see all the four questions and you are not going to get the possible answer, if it is not absolutely not going to get the possible answer as yes, right? Probably if you are not able to do that in the first four questions, so what you should do it, you put yourself in the publicity test. So you visualize yourself you smoking on the public place where it is being pictured and it is being put on the newspaper, where your family members see, your colleagues see it, your teachers see it, your all your friends see it, and they are not comfortable on seeing that particular picture and the news, right? If that is the case, you are not taking the ethical decision, and the decision which you have taken is absolutely unethical. And if a particular decision, probably you planting a tree, you're planting a sapling, and that particular photo is being taken and it is being put on the newspaper, and everyone sees it, and everyone are comfortable with that, everyone are able to understand the situation, or everyone are able to look out the goodwill in you, and that is going to be the ethical decision, and that is literally an ethical one. I guess everyone seems to understand it, right? So we might get into a confusion right now. So what is been an ethical and what is being legal, right? So that's what I said to you earlier. There is a gray area which lies in between the ethical and the legal thing, the law. So when we look out on the gray area, we have certain classical dilemma also, and these dilemma can be come upon certain maybe the workouts that we do it, the observations, or uh, the decisions, or the eh, something like this type of evaluations what we do it, and these things will literally get us to know what this particular gray area that we lie on, right? So mainly these particular ethics were literally incorporated for the businesses, because what happened is every business should have its own ethics to avoid certain immoral activities, like uh, probably the white collar crimes, and the insider trading, hacking, and cartel, or you're stealing of the intellectual property or something, all these kind of things. So these are literally comes under this particular ethics, business ethics precisely. So all these things will give you the better understanding of how you are performing of a particular ethic. So when you see on the business ethic, you tend to know what this particular business ethic literally mean, right? So this particular business ethics is literally a very big concept which cannot be taken on a very shorter note, where I'll take this particular business ethics on a higher note, where we'll go upon on a different session as well for this business ethics. So when you see on the ethical part as an common thing, so we look into many things like the professional ethics, your employability rights, your whistleblowing. So all these things which I told you on the cons ethics, which literally constitute to this particular thing, right? So you have the degree and the acceptance of ethics. There is one particular uh, type where you measure the ethically required concept, your ethically permissible and ethically forbidden. So we can just a degree, you can differentiate on the base of a degree on how the acceptance of ethics can be taken upon, right? So there I've mentioned three, but there are you can take it on the higher note also. Something like we make a grading in such a way that rate in this count of the slab of 5 or 10 or something like that, where you can put out how this particularly ethically required or ethically this is correct, or which is ethically permissible level, which can be permissible on a particular way, or which is ethically forbidden. So each thing has its own constitutes as well as the positives and also the negatives, which has to be taken care of, right? So I guess I've given you the better understanding of what the ethics is literally mean. So when you see on the you may be having certain dilemmas of ethical dilemmas of future. So these particular dilemmas can be dealt with the human lifespan. Probably that is a which has come out as a dramatical increases, right? Because these particular dilemmas have taken a long way, pertaining from the BC and right now we are in the AD. So these have taken a long loop out, and this has come out in the longer stage also until right now. So I guess I have cleared you the best part. Thank you, gentlemen.
என்றன் முன்னை தீயவினை பயன்கள் இன்னும் மூளாதழிந்திடுதல் வேண்டும். இனி என்னை புதிய உயிராக்கி எனக்கேதும் கவலையறச் செய்து மதி தன்னை மிகத் தெளிவு செய்து என்றும் சந்தோஷம் கொண்டிருக்கச் செய்வாய். என்றும் சந்தோஷம் கொண்டிருக்கச் செய்வாய். நான் வீழ்வேன் என நினைத்தாயோ?
Thank you so much, people, for joining with us. So I'm open for questions. If you have any questions regarding the ethics, you are most welcome to ask me. Probably I'm available on the chat right now. So you can just post your questions on the chat, or you can just directly go and asking me the questions. So I'm open for questions right now. We'll finish it quick. So these are my contact details. So it is there on all social medias also. You can just contact me in any social media wherever you want. Okay, so I guess there are no questions in the webinar as well as the YouTube viewers also. So thank you so much for people joining in YouTube also. I'll just post on the feedback link here. So you can just post your feedback on this particular link where this particular link will be active 12 midnight. So you can just post your feedback here, and you can just post your reviews also in the GPH link which I've given here. So which will keep us encouraged on how and this particular webinars have taken upon and how we should improve on it. You can just post your topics that you are interested to take on the webinar also that we'll try to take upon. Thank you so much people for joining with me today evening on ethics. So we'll meet you tomorrow evening 5 o'clock, another one webinar. Until then, bye, good night.